shows.
Shalom, everybody. We're going to get started. You may want to come as close as you can. And if you have a moment to put your phones off so we can be present, that would be really helpful. There's a lot of room on the sides to come up. So people in the back half, you can scooch on up. Okay, Shalom, Erev Tov, everybody. Bruchim Habayim. Thank you for being here, being together. Shh. First of all, turn around and look at the moon and the sunset. Let's just appreciate the cycle of the evening cooling us off, maybe cooling off our intensity as well, and letting us arrive here together. So I'm Rabbi Lori Matskin. I serve as PJCC's Chief Jewish Experience Officer. It's been my honor to lead tonight's process and program, and I'll also be your MC. So first, I want to appreciate the support of Jewish Federations of North America and our local Jewish Community Federation and Endowment Fund for sponsoring this event, and our North Peninsula Jewish Collaboration Organizations for supporting this effort and many other meaningful shared programs. The organizations are PJCC, Wernick Jewish Day School, Peninsula Sinai Congregation, Peninsula Temple Shalom, Peninsula Temple Beth El, and Congregation Beth Jacob. I also want to appreciate our Beged Kefet faculty who gave input into the program, as well as all the volunteer planning team members who are listed in the front of your program. Also want to acknowledge and appreciate the presence and support. Isabella Agostino from Senator Josh Becker's office is with us, Mayor Julia Mates of Belmont, Rabbi Yossi and Esty Marcus from Chabad North Peninsula, Rebecca Goodman and Natasha Kahimkar from JCRC, and Nurdin Kaparov, Diane Farmer, and Father Paul from our multi-faith community. Thank you to all of those people. Libi b'mizrach, va'anochi b'sof ma'arav. Rabbi Yehuda Halevi wrote this in 12th century Spain. My heart is in the east, but I am here at the edge of the west. We are here tonight to be together, to find comfort in community, to be in a safe space, to breathe, to cry, to feel, to allow the range of our emotion to be held. I was recently reminded that the Hebrew words yachid, individual, and yachad, together, are almost identical. Being in community means honoring our individual experiences and perspectives, and yet coming together to find strength in unity. In many camps and synagogues, they say, touch someone touching the challah before hamotzi. That's what we are doing now. We are all touching someone who has touched October 7th. Whether we know someone who spent hours in a safe room or spent months in Miluim reserve duty, each one of us has been touched by the impact of these attacks. Some of us have lost immediate family or dear friends, and we know you are here. Some of us are reliving trauma as descendants of Holocaust survivors. Some of us lived through past attacks in Israel or are imagining ourselves in the ranks of our unit, struggling with guilt of not receiving a Tzav Shmona call to reserves. And some of us see our reflections in the faces of the Jews killed and injured on that day. Imagine ourselves or our children at music festivals or waking up on a quiet kibbutz on a Shabbat morning. And we all hold in our hearts not only our 100 hostages in Gaza, but also those thousands of Israelis who have been injured bodily, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, those from the south as well as the north who have been evacuated from their homes or dealing with rocket fire for months and months. The Talmud teaches, Kol Yisrael Arevim Ze Bazeh. The entire Jewish people is responsible for each other. This phrase is the basis of our notion of collective responsibility and also collective consciousness. It's the reason why we feel so viscerally impacted, even when we are here in the Bay Area, but so ma'arav at the edge of the West. We support and are supported. We comfort and are comforted. We stand together, we stand up together, and we are supporting one another. And we stand for those who can't. This is a time to pause for grief. The program we have built tonight is designed as a journey, mirroring the journey from Shiva, to Yahrzeit, Azkara, from the initial phase of intense mourning and working towards re-entering life with hope and courage. We'll start with going deep into our despair, anger, fear. And then we'll fully immerse in mourning with the ritual prayers of Jewish tradition. Some words you'll recognize and some that have been rewritten to reflect the unique horror and trauma of this year. And finally, we'll move towards hope with a beautiful dance, the sound of the shofar, and the sound of the next generation leading us in song. Many of our readings tonight lift up the words of our brothers and sisters in Israel who have lived through this year and are trying to keep living with grace, strength, and resilience. Despite facing immense challenges, our Israeli family has demonstrated an unyielding commitment to community and country, showing not just fortitude, but also a deep capacity for unity and hope in the face of adversity. It's fitting to me that this October 7th is landing in the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. This is a time of cheshbon nefesh, of spiritual accounting, a time to take stock of our lives, our relationships, our habits, attitudes, and behaviors. And it is a time of teshuvah, of returning to our highest selves and returning to a path that brings more goodness and holiness to the world. My prayer is that our experience tonight will help each of us open our hearts and begin to heal our wounds, to feel connected as Yachid within Yachad, experiencing a moment of unity amidst various personal experiences and points of view, and to find comfort in knowing that we are not alone, that we are in this together. If you'll turn to page 3, we will read an opening prayer together, and we know that many people are sharing. Holy One, join me. Our tears are full of dread and anger, of mourning and rage. Our eyes are sore and red, making our vision swim, unable to see. Our bodies are exhausted. How long can we hold hope while your flock has been taken captive? Innocents are drowning, children are suffering. How can we recite songs of joy? We need not ask what is wailing as we cry now, we know. Blessed One, danger seems to lurk from every corner. Voices who clamor for your people's downfall. Though we are a scattered, dispersed people, our right hands do not forget. Our tongues cleave not to our mouths, but to one another, to the people. It is not good for a person to be alone, so we are with each other. Though the valley is dark, we refuse to despair. Justice, peace, and truth are your mighty hand. It will bring us from this bondage. In wholeness from each corner, we will be with one another. Our people will endure. Our first section honors the connection between siblings, both on a very intimate level and as the entire Jewish family of brothers and sisters. So I'll invite up Ayala Ackler, Adam Eilat, Rabbi Ilana Zeleny, and Cantor Barbara Powell.
This text was written by Shai Elbag, the sister of hostage Levi Elbag. I'm angry at myself every morning when I wake up. Angry that I get to wake up to sunlight, breathe fresh air, get a hug from mom and dad, and walk freely. Such basic things that have been taken from you. On the third day of the war, I found your notebook. Everything is only phases that will pass, and in the end, everything will work out for the best. I'm trying to stay positive, optimistic, and strong, you wrote. And maybe when you wrote that, you knew deep inside that one day I would need to hold on to your words. As if you left me a guide for how to act during those hellish days. I admit, Levi, I'm breaking down. I'm trying to understand how I'm supposed to stay optimistic. How will everything work out for the best in the end? Every night before I go to sleep, I talk to you and ask for your forgiveness. Forgive me that another day has been ended and we still haven't been able to bring you home.
הנתונים בצרה ובשריה, העומדים בין בים ובין ביבשה. אחינו כל בית ישראל, כל בית ישראל, הנתונים בצרה ובשריה, העומדים בין בים ובין ביבשה. המקום ירחם, ירחם עליהם, ויוציאם מצרה לרווחה, ומפנה לאורה, משיפוט לגאולה השתה, בגלה ובזמן קריב. המקום ירחם, ירחם עליהם ויוציאם מצרה לרווחה ובצבע לאורה ומשעבוד לגאולה השתה בעגלה ובזמן קיץ.
Before Rabbi Alana Zeleny introduces the next section, we'll bring our next 5 readers up, and we'll be hearing the pieces you can follow on page 5 and 6. So I invite Susie Sorkin, R.M. Carr, Steve Drethbreeze, Lionel Engelman, and Hagit Shiran.
In a moment, we will read brief accounts of heroes from October 7th, people who were everyday citizens who took the responsibility to put their own lives at risk in order to spare other life. As a rabbi, when Lori said, "Would you introduce this?" the way I connect to our culture and our tradition is through our sacred text. And when I looked for the word gibor, for the word hero, it turns out there's a number of places where it's connected to the sun. Psalm 19, the Song of Dvorah, the hero is compared to the sun. And when I started to think about why, the sun is fierce, the sun is strong like a hero, but I think it runs deeper than that. The sun rises and sets faithfully every day because that is what suns do. And heroes, like the ones we're about to hear about, they don't know any other way to be. They are just people who day after day have physical and moral courage.
This is written by Elah Ben Ami about his mother. Raz, my mother, friendly, noble, beautiful, and wise. A decade ago, as a result of an illness, she had to retire from her job as an administrator of the kibbutz's dining room. As someone who was always sensitive to beauty and design, she filled her life with art that brought her serenity and contentment. Along with painting, clay sculpture, and more, she began designing and weaving pretty and colorful dream catchers. According to Native American tradition, dream catchers protect a sleeping person, filtering out bad dreams while allowing good dreams to pass through the gossamer web to the soundly sleeping person. Both her work and the beautiful objects she made brought benefit and was done out of love for humanity. She recently began to volunteer with elderly kibbutz members, working with them on handicrafts. She found this very meaningful. Who could imagine that someone who strove to shape beautiful dreams for people would find herself in such an indescribable nightmare?
Awad Darashi, a 23-year-old paramedic from the Galilee, remained at the Nova Music Festival after other paramedics departed, believing he would be safe because he spoke Arabic. He was shot while treating patients. Despite the pain and sorrow the family is feeling now, they are proud of the decision Awad made, because it means that in the face of unspeakable evil, he remained human and humane.
Masad Amalat, a 23-year-old Bedouin Israeli, had rushed out from the gas station store in Sderot, where he was working in the early morning of that tragic day, to the main road and gathered 14 wounded people into the store's bomb shelter. Then, under immense emotional pressure, he had the wherewithal to think of placing helium tanks used for balloons next to the locked door so that if the terrorists shot the door, the tanks would explode on them. When the terrorists saw the helium tanks as they tried to break into the store, they left.
on the morning of October 7th. Rami Devian, a veteran farmer from Ashat, Watsits, glanced at the message on his phone. Please help my friends find their son. He was at a party near our house. He left home without a weapon, unaware of the heroic events awaiting him. Suddenly he saw a swarm of people running in every direction from the party. Young women and young men were running in every direction, followed by gunshots. At that moment, he accepted his mission. I need to rescue as many people as I can, and from here, I will do that. Over 4 days, Ramin rescued over 700 people.
Sagi Golan and his partner Omer Ohana were going to be married until Sagi was tragically killed in the action in Be'eri in the early hours of October 8th. In the weeks after Sagi's death, Omer led a successful campaign to legally secure the rights of the same-sex and common law partners of fallen soldiers.
I'll call up our next readers and explain to you what we'll do. So I'm bringing up Mayor Julianne Mates, Relly Siegel, Cantor Yona Klieger, Cantor Duran Shapira, and Michael Batat will come back. So we really tried to integrate all of our different perspectives of the prism of North Peninsula Jewish life, Hebrew speakers, English speakers, other speakers, many perspectives. And so the poetry that we very carefully landed on will be read in both Hebrew and English tonight. And you can follow them both in your program, or you can have your eyes and ears up on the stage and take it in just from the stage.
בת שבע דורי, קרליה, פניכם. ניבטות אלנו צעירות, כמותות, שזופות, חברות. עיניכם חומות, שחורות, כחולות. עזות מבע, במשקפיים, ללא משקפיים. אתם לכודים ברגע מחוייך, מבעד לעיניו של מישהו שאתם אוהבים. טיול, יום הולדת, חג, מסיבה, אירוע רב משתתפים. אתם בעלי שיער ארוך, קצר, קצוץ, צבוע, לבן, אתם קרחים. שיערכם הפלומתי החל לצמוח רק לפני שנה, לפני 4 שנים. אתם עם זקן, שפם, פאות לחיים, מגולחים למשעי, לובשות גופיות, בגד ים, חובשות כובעי שמש מקש, מבד לבן. שערכם מתנופף ברוח, חמה של חופשה. אתם חובשים כובע גרב, כובע טמבל, כובע מצחייה. אתן מקיבוץ, אתן ממושב, אתן מיישוב, אתם מהעיר הקטנה. מהעיר הגדולה. אתם בקיץ, אתם בחורף, אתם בארץ, אתם בחול, מסונברות מהשמש, נרטבים מגשם, דוהים מהפכפכות מזג האוויר, נתלשים מקירות, עמודים, גדרות, תחנות אוטובוס, לוחות מודעות, חלקכם כבר עצומי עיניים, אתם בני שנה, עד 86. אתם 136. שמותיכם הם שמות ילדינו, אמהותינו, אבותינו, אחיותינו, אחינו, סבינו, אהובותינו, אהובינו, חברותינו, חברינו, שכננו. אנחנו מדברים בם בשבתנו, בביתנו, ובלכתנו בדרך, ובשובכנו ובקומנו, ובקושרנו אות צהוב על ידינו. והיו 123 המילים האדומות בשעון החול, לטוטפות בין עינינו. עכשיו, 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 עכשיו.
The author is Batsheva Dori Collier, Your Faces, written on the 123rd day of the war when 136 hostages remain in captivity. Your faces gaze at us, young, wrinkled, tanned, pale, your eyes brown, black, blue, fierce, bespectacled or not, trapped for a moment in the amused eye of someone you love, on an outing, birthday, holiday, party, a large gathering, long-haired, short-haired, crew-cut, tinted, bald, the feathery hair of an infant, the hair of a 4-year-old. You are bearded, mustached, with side locks, shaved in effect, wearing a tank top, a bathing suit, a sun hat made of straw or white cloth, whose brim flutters in the vacation's warm breeze. You wear a stocking cap, a silly tourist hat, a baseball cap. You're from a kibbutz, a farming village. You're from some community, a small town, the big city. It's summer, it's winter. You're in the country, you're abroad, blinded by the sun, drenched in the rain, faded, weathered, snatched from walls, posts, fences, bus stations, notice boards. Some of you have already closed your eyes. 1-year-old to 86, you number 136. Your names are the names of our children, our mothers, our fathers, our sisters, our brothers, our grandparents, our lovers, our friends, our neighbors. We speak of you when we stay at home, and when we set out, and when we lie down, and when we rise up and bind the yellow sign to our hands. And 123 red days in the hourglass are a symbol upon our foreheads. Now, 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 now.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shma Kolenu. Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice. These are words that we collectively say during these Yamim Noraim, these days of awe. We ask God to hear our voice, to hear our prayers, and we do it in the plural, because we know and we hope that our communal voices are stronger than each individual voice. And yet, each of our voices is a voice that needs to be heard. So this song that we're about to sing, Zemer Nugeh, a sad song, also known as Hatishma Koli, as written by the early 20th century poet Rachel, asks, Hatishma Koli, can you hear my voice? Inspired by the images of watching the parents of some of the hostages screaming into megaphones at the border, we sing this song as a call to the hostages, to all of the hostages who are still there in Gaza, as a reminder that we love you, that we are with you, and we haven't given up on you. And we hope and we pray that you can feel our love. Hatishma Koli רחוקי שלי, התשמע קולי באשר אינך, קול קורא בעוז, קול בוכה בדמי, ומעל הזמן מצווה ברכה.
התשמע קולי,
התשמע קולי,
רחוקי שלי,
רחוקי שלי,
התשמע קולי,
התשמע קולי,
באשר
באשר
אינך,
אינך,
קול קורא בעוז, קול בוכה בדמי,
ומעל הזמן
מצווה ברכה.
תבל זו רבה,
זו רבה,
דרכים ברא,
דרכים ברא,
נפגשות לדעת, נפרדות לעד, מבקש אדם הקולות רגליו, לא יוכל למצוא את אשר עבר. Can you hear my voice? Oh, so far away, from a distant day, calling out to you, calling out to me as the night comes down, calling out to me, just as Rachel did. Can you hear my voice? Hear my voice.
התשמע קולי, רחוקי שלי.
Thank you. I'll bring up Rabbi Julia Berg, Rebecca Goodman, Eleanor Lieb Nachum, Moria Bashari Lifshitz, Yardain Shalom Shaul, and Asaf Levy.
For this next section, we'll focus on poetry, both ancient and modern, and consider our own sense of faith. And I'd like to remind us all that we are not alone if we are feeling full of doubt, if we're feeling angry, if we're feeling alone in our faith. All throughout Jewish tradition, there have been people asking the question, Eicha, how? How did we get here? How can we believe in a God that let this happen? And in this season in particular, the high holiday season, when we call upon El Rachum V'Chanun, this merciful, compassionate God, I understand why we might sometimes feel a sense of doubt in our own sense of faith. And I want you to know that in our poetry, both ancient and modern, you are not alone.
אבישי חורי, הצעה. הרחמן, הוא ישלח לנו רפואה שלמה, יחזיר תינוקות לארסם, יחזיר לאחור את הזמן, יעצור אותו ב-6:28 בבוקר שבת, ה-7 באוקטובר 2023. חג שמחת, הוא ימשיך לנצח את המסיבה, יוריד שלג גדול ולבן על הרצועה וסביבה. הרחמן הוא יחדש את האמון האבוד ברחמים, יתפור את הגדר הקרועה, ישבש את קשת הטילים בשמיו. הרחמן הוא יניח לנו לומר שוב מילים כמו אהבה. הרחמן הוא ימחה את הזיכרונות, ולא ידעו הילדים שכל היקר, הרך, המחוקב, חייהם, עיניהם, לחייהם והנמשים ניצבים רועדים מתחת לסכין.
Translated to the English by Shachar Moore. Merciful God shall send us a full recovery. He will put infants back to sleep. He will turn back time. He will stop it at 6:28 a.m. Saturday, October 7th, 2023. The holiday of Simchat Torah. He will keep the party going forever. He will make the great and white snow fall on the strip and around it. Merciful God will rebuild the trust lost in mercy. He will repair the broken fence. He will block the arc of missiles in his sky. Merciful God will let us say words like love again. Merciful God will remove the memories, and children will not know. All that is precious, dear, starry, their lives, their eyes, their cheeks, their freckles, are trembling under a knife.
שיר המעלות, אשא עיניי אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי. עזרי מעם אשר עושה שמיים וארץ, אל יתן אמות רגליך. שומרך, הנה לא ינום ולא ישן, שומר ישראל. השם שומרך, השם צילך, על יד ימינך. יומם השמש לא יככה, וירח בלילה. השם ישמורך מכל רע, ישמור את נפשך. השם ישמור צאתך ובואך, מעתה ועד עולם. מעתה ועד עולם. שיר המעלות, אשא עיניי אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי. עזרי מעם אשר עושה שמיים וארץ, אל יתן למות רגליך. אל ינום שומרך, הנה לא ינום ולא ישן, שומר ישראל. השם שומרך, השם צילך, על יד ימינך. יומם השמש
invite Karen Wagschul to join us off.
טל ניצן, השעות. ובלי שהוסבר להם כיצד, כאילו ידעו מדורות, מלידה, קיבצו עצמם בארון, וקיבצו נשימה, וחיכו, ואיש לא בא. ובין אצבעותיהן כמו מחרוזת תפילה, מוללו את ההבטחה עד שהייתה לאפר אדיש שצרב בגרונם, ואיש לא בא. ושמטו אחד אחד את תוצרותיהם החתמים כמי שמשליך משקל מסירה, ושקעו ביתמות שמיכה ונחושה, ואיש לא בא. ורגע תהו אם בהם האשמה, אם כשלו בפתרון החידה האיומה, אך ידעו מיד יאספו אל זרועות נחמה, ואיש לא בא. וליטפו ילדים בידיים זבות דם, כשנמסו עד אחרון הקירות מסביבם, וסדק נבעה מים ועד ים, ואזלו כל מלאכים מהעולם, ונפלה חשוכה, שחורה מכל חשיכה, ועברה שעה, ועוד 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 שעה, ואיש לא בא.
The hours, Tal Nitzan. And without it being explained to them how, as if they knew it from generations before, from birth, they shrank themselves into a closet, shrank their breath, and waited, and no one came. And between their fingers, like a rosary, they dissolved the promise until it became apathetic ashes burning in their throats, and no one came. And they tossed, one by one, their innocent treasures, like someone who throws the weight out of a boat. And they sank into a dense and determined orphanhood, and no one came. And for a moment they wondered if the fault was theirs, if they had failed to solve the terrible riddle. But they knew in a moment they will be held by arms of solace, and yet no one came. And they caressed the children with hands drenched in blood, while around them the walls were melting till the very last, and a crack appeared from sea to sea. And the world ran out of angels, and darkness came down, blacker than any other darkness they had ever seen. And an hour passed, and then another hour, and another hour, and yet another hour, and another, and another, and then another hour, and another, and then another hour, and yet no one came.
I'll call up Rabbi Lisa Kingston and Rabbi Moshe Hain to join Moria.
Jews come from a rich and evolving tradition of wisdom, ritual, and ways to mark our lives with meaning. We find meaning even through mourning. The whole grieving process from burial through the first yahrzeit is thoughtfully designed for the mourner to travel forward through time, to move from the graveside through the first week of Shiva, to the first month without our loved ones, to the first Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and Sukkot and Simchat Torah. And as we march forward through time, we somehow keep putting one foot in front of the other, and miraculously, we heal. But this year made a mockery of mourning. The magnitude of suffering has grown in ways that were unimaginable. Each day, as we tried to move forward, new pain emerged. More days in captivity, more senseless deaths, more anger, more sadness. As Jews mourn, we are called to return to the places where we once stood a year ago as we said goodbye to our loved ones. But how can we return to October 7th when we never left it? Each of us has walked a different path of mourning this year, but it has led us to this place to be here together. We are each called by our Jewish obligation to remember. Yizkor. We remember the families wrapped in each other's arms, embracing for the last time. Yizkor. We remember teenagers dancing their final dance. Yizkor. We remember elders and founders of kibbutzim. Yizkor. We remember the heroes, the helpers, those who sacrificed. Yizkor. We remember our children, the soldiers who defended our home. Yizkor. We remember innocent lives of Palestinians and all those who died as a consequence of terror. Yizkor. We remember not a number, not a day, but each and every soul. Yizkor. We remember the music going silent. Tonight, as we remember, we also pray to find healing, to find peace, and to find strength in the sacred words of our memorial prayers.
Please rise, those who are able.
יזכור עם ישראל את הנשמות הטהורות של בניו ובנותיו, הנאמנים והאמיצים, אנשי העבודה והשלום, קורבנות טבח השבת השחורה תשפ"ד. נזכור את הנרצחות והנרצחים בבתיהם, בקיבוצים, במושבים ובערים בחבל עוטף עזה, שנפרצו ונכבשו בידי אויב אכזר וחסר רחמים. את האם האוחזת בשארית כוחותיה בידית דלת הברזל לגונן על משפחתה מפני המזיד שמנגד. את האב המשליך את ילדיו מחלון ביתם הבוער ומזנק אחריהם וסופג בגופו את קליעי העופרת. את הרעים הנמלטים בשדה מפני המרצחים ומפלט עין. נזכור את אמיצי הלב וברי הלבב שנחלצו להגנת היישובים. את הלוחמות והלוחמים בכיתות הכוננות, פקוחי העיניים שקידמו פני אויב בנשקם הדל והשליחו נפשם מנגד. את החיילות והחיילים במוצבי הגדר שלחמו בעוז מעטים מול רבים ונפלו חלל. את אנשי כוחות החילוץ וההצלה, שירות הביטחון הכללי, המשטרה וצבא ההגנה לישראל, שחשו מרחבי הארץ לעזרת אחיהם המותקפים וחרעו בשדה הקטל. נזכור את קורבנות הטרור ביישובי הנגב המערבי ובפזורה הבדואית שנה אחר שנה ועד ליום הזה. את כל יושבי הספר, את האזרח והחייל, הזר, הגר והתושב, שבגופם היו לנו לגבול. יזכור ישראל ויתברך בזרעו ויאבל על זיו העלומים וחמדת הגבורה וקדושת הרצון ומסירות הנפש אשר נספו במערכה הכבדה. יהיו חללי השבת השחורה חתומים בלב ישראל לדור דור. נאמץ לליבנו את החיים, שורדי התופת וניצולי מעשי הזוועה, את החטופות והחטופים הכלואים במרתפי עזה, ואת הנעדרים שגורלם עוד לא נודע, את הקשישה והחייל, את הילד והנערה, את בני המשפחה שנשבו יחדיו, את האם ללא עולליה ואת התינוק ללא הוריו. הנה נשואות עיניהם אלינו, ואל דומי לנו, עדי ישובו לגבולם. נאמץ אל ליבנו את הילדות והילדים שגדלו בצל הר געש ונקלעו לתופת המתפרצת, את הפצועות והפצועים בגוף ובנפש, את החרדים לשלום יקיריהם החטופים והנעדרים, את פליטי החרב, קהילות ישראל על אלפיהן, שאולצו לגלות מבתיהם, ואין איש יודע מתי יוכלו לשוב. אל ישקוט ואל ינחם ואל יפוג האבל, עד ישוב ישראל וגאל אדמתו השדודה, וישב עליה לבטח ובשלום לדור דור.
May the people of Israel remember the innocent souls of its sons and daughters, faithful and brave, people of labor and peace, victims of the massacre on the Black Shabbat of 5784. Let us remember the women and men murdered in their homes, in their kibbutzim, moshavim, and the cities of the Gaza envelope, which were breached and occupied by a cruel and merciless enemy. The mother, gathering the last of her strength to hold the iron door handle tight to protect her family from the evil on the other side. The father throwing his children out of the window of their burning home, leaping out after them and taking the lead bullets with his own body. The friends, fleeing murderers through the fields but finding no refuge. Let us remember the noble and courageous ones who ran to defend the communities, the warriors, women and men from local security teams who remained vigilant and confronted the enemy with their meager weapons, fighting for their lives. The soldiers, women and men positioned along the fence who fought courageously, the few against the many, and fell in battle. Those serving in the search and rescue forces, the Israel Security Agency, the Israel Police, and the Israel Defense Forces, who hastened from all over the country to help their brethren under attack and were cut down in the killing fields. Let us remember the victims of terror from the Western Negev and the Bedouin communities, year after year, to this very day. All the inhabitants of the frontier, citizens and soldiers, foreigners, immigrants, and residents whose bodies served as our border. Let Israel remember and be blessed by its scions, and mourn the radiance of youth, the preciousness of courage, the sanctity of will, and the devotion of self-sacrifice that perished in this fierce battle. May those who fell on that black Shabbat be bound up in the hearts of Israel for all generations to come. Let us embrace the living, the survivors of the hell and the atrocities on that dark day. Let us embrace the hostages, women and men, who are being held prisoner in the underbelly of Gaza, as well as the missing, whose fate is yet unknown. Let us embrace the old woman and the soldier, the young boy and the teenage girl, the family members who were taken captive together, the mother taken from her babies, and the babies taken from their parents. Behold, their eyes are looking upon us. So let us not remain silent until they are returned home. Let us embrace the little girls and boys who grew up under the shadow of a volcano and were caught in the crosshairs of the erupting inferno. The wounded of both body and spirit, those trembling with worry for their dear ones who were captured and missing, the orphans, the widows and widowers, and all the bereaved, the refugees of this war, the communities of Israel, by the thousands who were forced into exile from their homes without knowing when they may return. Let our mourning not go silent, and not be comforted, and not fade away until Israel returns and redeems its plundered land and dwells upon it in safety and peace for all the generations to come.
Thank you. You can be seated for a little bit. I'll bring up Rabbi Dan Feder and Kate Lauser.
I want to begin by thanking Rabbi Lori Matzkin for putting together such a beautiful, poignant program. So much of the last year, I think for so many of us, have felt like we were mourning alone. The opportunity to come together as a collective kihila is powerful and deeply appreciated. There's something eloquent, ancient, and simple about the words of the mourner's Kaddish. There's something evocative and poignant about the poem we're about to read. And there's something chilling and comforting about the silence that will separate poetry from Kaddish.
Sit in silence, Rabbi Hannah Yerushalmi. During this moment of silence, bring me the grief of my people, centuries born and centuries old, and let it inspire me to still love the world. Connect me with fleeting grace and the prophet's power to keep opening up my soul even when it is seared with loss. Bring me the courage to quiet my desperate need for answers by letting hearts touch hearts on some imagined coastal plain. Connect me with the calm of a desert valley after a surprise flash flood, the rich pause between musical notes, or the serenity of a Jerusalem street on Shabbat. Bring me the tentative hope in a room before a newborn's cry. Connect me to the frail silvery thread that links me to the humanity of my neighbor. During this moment of silence, though there are horrors all around, in spite of everything that directs me not, let the more loving one be me.
Those who are able, let us rise when ready for Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah be'alma diverach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'meru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach la'alam u'lalmei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei tukudusha b'richu le'ela u'le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran ba'alma v'imeru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imeru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imeru. Amen. And may the source of peace send peace to all who mourn here in the land of Israel and across our globe. And let us say together, Amen.
You can be seated. We have a very special performance next, and I will take this moment as we clear the stage quickly to just reiterate my thank yous to all of our participants. We have over 30 participants tonight, and all of our volunteers. Go ahead. All of our staff from all of our North Peninsula Jewish collaboration organizations, but tonight especially our facilities teams and all of our security teams and everyone else who really made this logistically happen. All of our clergy and again, all of our sponsors. So we'll have a beautiful dance that was created by Liron Yehudai, also with Chen Levi Moria and Hadar Elazar that they choreographed in the spring. We were going to actually have this dance at our Shavuot community gathering, but the flights were so precarious that Liron was able to get to Israel the day before Shavuot. So it's really a blessing to have this piece as part of tonight's program.
I'm coming home, coming home. Tell the world I'm coming. And the blood will dry underneath my nails. And the wind will rise up to fill my sails. See, you can't doubt and you can hate, but I know no matter what it takes, I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom awaits, and they're fighting for my sake. I'm coming home, coming home. Tell the world I'm coming.
So far away from where I belong, but it's always darkest before the dawn, and you can't doubt, and you can't hate, but I know no matter what it takes, I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom awaits. They are fighting for my sakes. I'm coming home, coming home. Tell the world I'm coming. I'm coming home, coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom awaits, and they're fighting for my sake. I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home.
Lighter up my symphony, play with me, look into my eyes and see. People walk away but never say goodbye. Someone stole the moon tonight, took my light. Everything is black and white. Who's the fool who told you boys don't cry? Hours and hours and powers. Life is no game, but it's ours. While the time goes wild, every day I'm losing my mind, holding on in this mysterious ride, dancing in the storm. I got nothing to hide. Take it out and leave the world behind. Baby, promise me you'll hold me again. I'm still broken from this hurricane, this hurricane. לא צריך מילים גדולות, רק תפילות. אפילו אם קשה לראות, תמיד אתה משאיר לי אור אחד קטן.
I invite you to turn to page 18 in your books. With great intentionality, we shift our focus to the close of our program on hope. Please join with me at the bottom of page 18. To be a Jew is to be an agent of hope in a world seriously threatened by despair. Every ritual, every mitzvah, every act of faith is a protest against a world of randomness and chaos, and an assertion of meaning. Judaism is a sustained struggle, the oldest in all of human history, against fate, against despair, and against the idea that the world we see is all there. To be a Jew is to care and to hope. Rabbi Jonathan Sacks talked extensively about the difference between optimism and hope. To be a Jew is to be an agent of hope. An agent of hope. Hope, he said, was not a passive word. It was an active verb. I remember when I was a child in Hebrew school and the teacher would go around the room and call roll. She'd call your name and you'd say, Ani po, I am here. Tonight we do not say Ani po. Tonight we say Hineni, here I am. And when we say here I am together as a community, it's a statement in what Jonathan Sachs said, we are Jews as an agent of hope. An agent of hope. Our call to action tonight when we leave here is, what will we do? What will we do to be an agent of hope in our community and for our people? I have a sense of hope looking out here tonight, seeing 500 members of our community coming together to be together to say we collectively are an agent of hope. We look forward to continuing that journey with you.
Shana Tova, everyone. On Rosh Hashanah, we heard the sound of the shofar, the blast of the ram's horn. On Rosh Hashanah, we hear the shofar 100 times. 100 times the ram's horn is blown over the course of the new year. Our rabbis give us lots of explanations for why we listen to the shofar, but one I think is relevant for us today. Our rabbis tell us that when we hear the shofar, we're supposed to be reminded of our foremother, Sarah, who cried when the angel of death tricked her and came to her and told her that her son Isaac was dead. In that moment when Sarah heard that her son had died, she didn't want to accept it. She didn't want to be alive herself. And she wanted to send a message with her cry. There are some human experiences that we are not meant to experience. Hearing about the death of our own children, burying our own children. Sarah's cry, thousands of years ago, her cry prophesied that in the future we'd have a Jewish state and mothers would send their sons to die for the land of Israel and for the Jewish people. With this cry, Sarah begged, please don't lay your hands on my son. Al tishlach yadcha el hana'ar. 100 cries of Sarah, 100 blows of the shofar, 100 mothers, thousands of mothers, fathers, siblings, children crying out, begging, saying that there are some human experiences that are too painful to bear. During the holiday of Shavuot, we celebrate receiving the Torah. But one thing that we often don't teach our students is that we don't only celebrate the whole Torah, the whole tablets, we also celebrate the broken tablets that Moses received first. Celebrating Shavuot is about celebrating the broken tablets and the whole tablets together. We take some hope in a world of broken tablets, knowing that broken tablets too offer hope. The world that is broken will give birth to a world that is whole. And that hope that I hope you all feel is something that I hope that you feel when we hear the shofar in just a moment. Before we blow the shofar, I'm actually going to invite all of our students who are here, who are able, our Beged Kefet students, our Warnick students, any other students here in the community who want to come on stage and sing Hatikva. As they come up, and we'll get some assistance in bringing them up. Right before they sing Hatikva, Jordan is going to blow the shofar for us, and if you're able to stand, you'll do so. And I invite you to hear that same cry, not only of Sarah thousands of years ago, but also of all of the mothers and fathers and children crying today. Yeah, please come on stage, all students.
בלבב פנימה, נפש יהודי הומייה, ולפתי מזרח קדימה, עין לציון צופיה. עוד לא אבדה תקוותנו, התקווה בת שנות 2000, להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים. להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים.
Erev Tov, everybody. Laila Tov, Shana Tova. Thank you for being here.
Careful here, Marilyn. Careful.